morning, everyone. I'm Robin Hutchison, and I'm the chair of the Metropolitan Council, and I'm really looking forward to this morning together. I want to thank you all for being here. We have so many distinguished guests with us this morning, and I want to note first the many Metropolitan Council members who are here with us today, and I'll just read them out, and I'm sorry if I missed someone who came in late, but our Vice Chair, Angelique Cameron, Dr. Gail Cederberg, Transportation Chair Reva Chambliss, Tony Carter, Dr. Tyrone Carter, that's fun at meetings, Mark Jenkins, Peter Lindstrom, Robert Lilligren, Diego Morales, Yassine Osman, Wendy Wolf, and former Chair Charlie Zelli. We are standing here in a gorgeous facility, really breathtaking. What a wonderful auditorium to be in, and I'd like to thank Mayor Elizabeth Couts, Mayor of Burnsville, and we're going to hear more from you later, and I look forward to that. As is customary at the start of all Metropolitan Council meetings, I'd like to share our Dakota Land, Water, and People acknowledgement. The Metropolitan Council acknowledges that the land we currently call Minnesota, and specifically the 7-county region, is the ancestral homeland of the Dakota Oyate, who are present and active contributors to our thriving region. As part of the Metropolitan Council's commitment to address the unresolved legacy of genocide, dispossession, and settler colonialism, and the fact that government institutions, including the Metropolitan Council, benefited economically, politically, and institutionally after the forcible removal of the Dakota Oyate, the Metropolitan Council is dedicated to instilling land, water, and people commitments in regional policy. These commitments support the Dakota Oyate, the 11 federally recognized tribes in Minnesota, Ho-Chunk Nation, and the American Indian communities representing over 150 diverse tribal nations that call the 7-county region home. It has been a year. We postponed our original date for this event to make space for the collective work to keep our friends and our families and our neighbors safe. And I want to take a moment to appreciate the many local elected officials who are here with us today who understood the assignment is to give people hope. We stood with you then, and we stand with you, and this region is no stranger to the unity required to overcome a crisis. 100 years ago, as we saw in that beautiful video, and thank you to everyone who worked on that, 100 years ago was a crisis of a different kind, when the Mississippi River literally died as raw sewage from dozens of cities flowed directly into its waters. And communities working separately couldn't fix this problem, could not be solved alone. And in 1926, Minneapolis and St. Paul chose to work together to build interceptor systems along the Mississippi that carried wastewater away from the river to treatment facilities. It was bold at the time, and it was very expensive at the time, and it worked. Today, the same systems, expanded and modernized, serve 3.2 million residents and countless businesses across our 7-county region, and that is the power of regional action. This metro, it's long been a place of compassion and happiness. These aren't new concepts, of prosperity, of grit, and a place where well-being is at the heart of what we mean when we say, and I put it in air quotes because we use it so often, quality of life, but that's real. We recognize this isn't felt equally among all of our residents, and that we know and act on this is yet another testament to the commitments in our region. I, myself, am living proof of the attractiveness of this region. As this is my very first State of the Region, so thank you for all your patience you're going to show me today. Please, I don't know who did that, maybe Kim, I don't know. Please allow me to introduce myself to those of you I haven't met. I am a transplant. I was recruited to Minnesota to become the Public Works Director for the city of Minneapolis. I then left in 2021 to serve as a senior level appointee in the United States Department of Transportation in DC, only to return in 2024. I was not born and raised here. I chose this place not once, but twice. It isn't easy to put into words how swiftly I fell in love with this place. I remember my very first bike ride, my very first view of Cedar Lake. After decades in Utah and Colorado, I'm actually like a suburban kid from Connecticut, lived in Colorado, lived in Utah. I know now that my choices to come here and to come back here were rooted in my ability to live in nature, around water, and within an ethos that gives this opportunity to all who call this region home. Especially where we sit now, we are framed by the Mississippi, the Minnesota, and the St. Croix rivers. We are home to hundreds of lakes and rivers and streams and wetlands. It draws people like me here. Your kids come back like boomerangs. Businesses choose to stay, jobs are created, and prosperity ensues. It is our competitive advantage. Water is at the center of our internationally braggable, and more news this week about how much we should brag about it. It's at the center of our regional parks and trail system. And there's a lot of science behind why this is so valuable. Studies show that 20 minutes in a park is enough to measurably improve cognitive function, to reduce blood pressure, and restore our capacity to focus. Studies of blue space, this means access to swimmable waters, and those in the audience who know me aren't surprised I'm bringing this up. Access to swimmable waters has measured positive outcomes in both environmental and mental health, both reducing harm to the environment and increasing stress recovery. We knew what we were doing when we built those first interceptor systems for the quality of the environment. And what I don't think we recognize frequently enough is that our clean and accessible waters are more reason we thrive as individuals living in this region. Unity in our action will continue to preserve these resources, fostering well-being outcomes we all seek, and continuing our competitive advantage. We are guided by a playbook that you helped create, so many in this room helped create, Imagine 2050. For Indigenous peoples, water is considered a relative. The Lakota teach us, Mini Wichoni, water is life. The Ojibwe know the water as Nibi, a living spirit carrying stories and connections through time. Within each of our 5 overarching goals in Imagine 2050, we find this deep connection to water. By 2050, our region will welcome 657,000 more residents and 324 households. With this growth brings challenges, which we have risen to already. And this is why the state of our region is so strong. I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. I want you all to share your examples with each other during the mingling. Just a few examples. Right now, the Council is supporting local conversations in 7 sub-region groups who are collaborating on a sustainable water future. We issue millions in grant funding and are active partners in your work for clean water. Our Regional Parks and Trails Equity Grant Program awarded over $4.4 million to build more inclusive spaces and to improve access to parks. Our partners were able to meet their own goals, like the Three Rivers Park District Water Safety Education Program and the incredibly popular Scott County Mental Health and Nature-Based Wellness Programming. The City of St. Louis Park is using data from our growing shade tools to support their local tree planting program to increase the tree canopy. These are just a few of many, many examples we could share to demonstrate our collective action. I want to thank our state legislators for supporting this work, and for those of you in the room, truly thank you for your work during this session. You passed a bonding bill that included $15 million for inflow and infiltration grants, $10 million for parks, and $5 million to expand the tree canopy. These funds, this is exactly what we're talking about here today. I'm known to be annoyingly aspirational at times. You can ask any of my colleagues and those who I'm working with now, so just go with me here. I want to ask a few questions as I'm preparing to wrap up. And this is a thought exercise. I don't expect you to answer them today, or you could. You might have the opportunity. So some questions. What if every development plan started with the question, how does this impact water? What if we listened to indigenous water keepers who have been protecting these rivers and lakes for thousands of years? What if we measured regional success by access to natural spaces and clean and swimmable and fishable waters? What if we included mental health, life expectancy, community well-being in our regional models that guide our infrastructure investments? And maybe my favorite, what if we focused on restoring the relationships between ourselves as individuals and the environment we live in? This auditorium is full of people who make decisions for future generations. In this room, we're the people who plant trees knowing we may never sit in its shade. We're the people, when faced with the question, what kind of future will we leave? And we choose to leave one that is worthy of those who come after us. I want to thank you again for being here today. This is my first day of the region, and I was nervous, just nervous to do this for the first time, and also nervous because I can't actually see you right now because of the lights. And I really, a genuine thank you to everyone who came today and who's in the room today. And I want to give special thanks to those in the room who have met with me so far and shared your priorities for your communities and your organizations. Just a couple of shout outs. I won't be able to get to everyone in the room, but Dakota County Commissioner Lori Halverson took my call from an unknown number and just said hello. No scheduling, just super accessible, and we talked about her transportation concerns. Mayor Burt invited me to the Regional Council of Mayors, where I got to listen to all the mayors and see her leadership in action. Mayor Hanlon shared his vision for car-optional Hopkins. Commissioner Bigham from Washington County showed me just how dedicated she is to housing. She's a bird dog. She's on it. And to all the mayors who joined us at last week's Trails to Rails, I almost say that opposite every time, Trails to Rails event, where we celebrated the reopening of the Kenilworth and Cedar Lake Trails, and to those mayors and those council members along the line for your dedication to the Green Line extension. I have met with many more of you. It's been a bit of a roadshow for the last 6 months that I've been here at the Met Council, and I have learned so much. And you have so much in common. And water has been one of the top concerns that has been shared with me. I've spoken today about just one aspect of water, and I know that there is so much more to this water story. We're going to hear more later. One of the most important functions of the Metropolitan Council is to convene us, not to teach or to tell, but for thought and leadership on regional issues, and issues where our collective and coordinated actions lead to greater solutions to problems and ultimately flipping it to positive opportunity. So right now, and I can't see them, but maybe you can, Met Council ambassadors are walking down the stairs, and be careful because it's dark, please, nobody gets hurt today. We are distributing small note cards today. They look like this, okay? And it's very simple. And on the note card, there's a single question. What is a significant issue facing your community that would best be solved together with others rather than addressing it alone? And so during our program today, just divert your attention for just a second. Oh, I can see you all now. Oh, I feel so much better, so much more comfortable. Divert your attention to our amazing program today, and take a minute and fill this out, please. And why do it now? Do it now because we're picking them up during the meeting today. And your results will be displayed here as we go, periodically through our couple of hours together. Now, we're not going to revisit this, and we're not going to make this the the topic of the day, but I feel pretty strongly that this kind of visibility into your concerns, what you think we can address together, creates a collective wisdom in this room. And I'm really looking forward to hearing back from you. Why? Because we will convene around the topics that are most important to you and your communities, and we will convene around issues that are better solved together based on your feedback. So a bit of an experiment at today's State of the Region, and I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you for doing a little work today. It's been a pleasure to share some of my ideas and viewpoints and hopefully my energy around the topic of water with you. And I'm very excited now to invite our host from this gorgeous facility in this beautiful city of Burnsville, Mayor Elizabeth Kautz. Mayor Kautz will be joining me over here for a short fireside chat. Burnsville is a community rich in natural beauty. It is framed by the Minnesota River, dotted with lakes that shape its identity, its economy, and its future. So we're going to hear more from Mayor Kautz, and I'm now going to walk over there and join you over here in the red chairs.
Okay, I'm on that side.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. So fantastic to be here in Burnsville. I came down yesterday for a practice and just marveled at this development in this facility. I took the Orange Line down. Orange Line, anyone? Took the Orange Line. I took the 9 to the Orange Line to the 9 and home. It was pretty seamless, pretty awesome. Yeah. So welcome to the stage. You've been mayor for a long time, re-elected 6 times, I believe.
31 years.
31 years,
I've been mayor.
Incredible. Well, you must be doing something right, and you must be visionary. Could you share just a little bit about your vision?
Well, let me first of all, Chair Hutchinson, welcome you and thanking you for choosing Burnsville for your first State of the Region. And welcome to the board of the Metropolitan Council, all the elected officials, guests. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming and experiencing Burnsville. You see, you sit in an area because of the partnership that we have with the Metropolitan Council. As a rookie mayor back in 1995, I was privileged and honored to be a part of the opportunity to put into action the Livable Communities Act under Governor Carlson, Arnie Carlson at the time, and then was privileged after the passing of that act to co-chair with then Mayor of St. Louis Park, Gail Dorfman, reviewing applications about the Livable Communities Act and to make recommendations to the board. You see, Burnsville has been a recipient of that partnership. And you're sitting in a building that was made possible because of grants from the Met Council through the Livable Communities Act. And just outside also with our Nicollet Commons Park and recreating and redeveloping the heart of the city from a blighted area that was really depressed to this vibrant urban center that really is an economic driver for our community. And all of that is possible because of the partnership that we have with the Metropolitan Council and that we work together to make these things a reality. And so thank you. And thank you to the forefathers and mothers who had the foresight to create an agency that really addresses region. And I really am very grateful that you talk about collaboration because it's about all of us. It's not about dictating, it's about how we solve problems together. And that's what the Livable Communities Act has done. So thank you so much, and thank you for all of you to come and experience Burnsville. This is a great opportunity to highlight that kind of partnership and what we can all benefit from. So thank you so much for choosing Burnsville.
I love hearing about that partnership. Every day I learn about something where there's a community that couldn't have done it alone, and we work together, and so it's a great example. Thanks.
Yes.
Minnesota River. Just
you
beautiful,
know,
just such a gem in your city.
It is. You see, for us, and for me, when I look at the whole issue of water, and water is a gift that we all share, as you mentioned in your remarks. It touches every part of our lives, our health, our homes, our recreation, our economy, and the natural beauty that makes Minnesota so unique and that we call home. You talked about the Minnesota River. The Minnesota River is very special to us. It is a river of commerce, but it's also a river that helps shape the landscape and the natural resource around us. We partner with the city of Savage, and the port of Savage is the second largest port in our state. And so it moves a lot of product throughout our country and the world. So it's an economic driver, and it is also a place where one can find peace when you either walk along the Minnesota River, and it's a great partnership with Dakota County for the trail system, the greenway that we have. And so with all of that, it helps all of us to feel the beauty and really understand how water makes a big difference in our lives, and that it is a resource that all of us must be good stewards with great intention and care.
I really appreciate you bringing up the Port of Savage, and water is like literally a direct connection to economic development, and Port of Savage is, I think, sort of an underrepresented asset using our waterways.
Yeah.
For this audience today, what advice do you have for them about how to best partner with the Met Council? You've done tremendous work. We feel very connected to you because there's been such great trust and partnership. What's your advice for folks joining us today? Like how to continue to build that trust among each other and with the Met Council?
You know, it is about conversation and connecting and working together, and that it isn't about dictating to another unit of government, but how do we address issues that are common to all of us, and then finding solutions together to make sure that we achieve those goals. You see, in Burnsville, we understand that water is precious, and I know that that is the focus of what we're doing today with the Met Council and your leadership. And in Burnsville, it's a precious resource, and we draw water from our 17 wells from the aquifer, but also we partner with the city of Savage and also with the Kramer mines to draw water, surface water, and treat it and put it into our drinking water system safely. You see, it's all of these things that we do together that helps also recharge the aquifer. And that is being good stewards of our resource. So for me, when you talk about how do we do this, it's about doing it together. And I was so heartened by your words today that you talk about collaborating. And so when you ask about how do we continue this strong, trusting relationship, it's about collaborating. It's about reaching out and touching one another and connecting. And you have already done that. You've talked to so many mayors because cities is the great partner of the Met Council. We have to send you our comprehensive plans to be approved because you're looking at the growth of our region for the future, and it's the legacy that we leave for future generations. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that and your kind words, and know that my activities out there to learn from folks as I'm getting going is really, I'm reflecting what the entire organization is always doing, and especially with the comp plans. We're going to talk more about that in a bit, and just know that we are resources for you. We don't always have the answers, but we are resources for you for that collaboration, and I appreciate your recognition of the importance of it. Mayor, thank you so much for being willing to have this short fireside chat. I know everybody really enjoys hearing from you, and I know that I did too, and just thank you so much for giving us your time, for hosting us here in Burnsville. Everybody go get lunch, spend money, leave your wallets before you exit the city, and I know the mayor would really appreciate it. Thank you again.
Thank you for that those encouraging words. Yes, spend money in Burnsville, please.
A round of applause for Mayor Elizabeth Couts.
Yeah.
Okay, so a sincere thank you. Help me welcome our next panel members to the stage, if we'll make a short transition.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
And hopefully someone's
Thank
getting
you.
a picture
And I'm
of
going
us.
to exit, so your other pen.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Welcome to our panel members. We are now going to transition to a pretty detailed conversation about water. Welcome to the stage. While you're getting settled, team, what do responses look like so far? It worked. Yay. Affordable housing is the largest response so far. And it keeps going. Love seeing this, love seeing the response. Water sustainability is number 2 there. Water quality is up there also. So we're in the right spot, everyone. These are exactly the insights. Do I need this one? I don't need this one. These are exactly the insights that we need to help you. Welcome, everyone, to the stage. We're so happy to have you here. Today, we wanted to make sure that we heard from experts in the field of water, and I'm so grateful that you've decided to join us. This water-focused panel brings together 3 leaders working across conservation, regulation, and indigenous sovereignty to shape the future of water. So we are joined by, and I'll just go quickly through and then feel free to embellish with your own words when you have the mic. Michelle Stockness, the Executive Director at Freshwater Society. She's a professional civil engineer, and prior to joining Freshwater, she was the Vice President of the American Water Works Association. I'm shortening these because I want to give you guys more time to talk. Nicole Blazing, Municipal Division Director for the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. She leads a part of this work, and the municipal division regulates municipal wastewater, municipal stormwater, construction stormwater, and subsurface sewage treatment systems. This is like a language I spoke when I was a public works director, so I love seeing it again. Welcome. She's been at MPCA for 22 years. That's great. And our third representative, Shelley Buck. And you know I'm like super nervous about what comes next, right?
You got it.
I've got it.
You got it. We practiced it.
We did practice it because I want to do it right. Shelley Buck is the president of the Owamni Okodayapi. Can you say it? Say it.
It was close enough as Owamni Omni Okodayapi.
Owamni Okodayapi. I practiced that last night too, because I want to get it right. I do. She is the founding member of the American Indian Advisory Council for the Met Council, and we thank you for your service. And I have a lot of intro, but I'd love for you guys to just spend a little time too, as we're in the questions, just talking about yourselves and what's important to you in your work. So I've got a couple questions for you, and I want to start with the legacy that we're celebrating today. I can't imagine that river 100 years ago. We are celebrating 100 years of the cleanup, and we are envisioning the future. Our next milestone is 2050, but if I could ask you what 100 years from now looks like for water, what does that look like to you? So I'd like to start with Shelley Buck on this one.
Thank you. 100 years from now, it looks like we have eliminated the pollution in all the waters here in Minnesota. Those waters that have been polluted by the destruction of the habitat around it. With the elimination of the pollution, the habitat around it would be brought back to life, and nature is an amazing thing. It heals itself if you just let it. So I think having that elimination of the pollutions in all the waters would be amazing to see. I also know, and I think everyone needs to understand, and I think most people in this space do, it's a long process, it's an expensive process, and if you really want to do it right, you work with the indigenous people that were there originally, and that takes time as well. But to do it right, you can't just have, say, like a Dakota person here in Minnesota meet 1 or 2 times a day, or 1 or 2 times during the process and then be done. They have to be a part of the process from start to finish, and that takes time, it takes money, and I think to do something right, you have to be ready to do that.
Thank you. I missed this in your bio, and I don't want to skip over it. Tell us about your tribe.
Oh yes, I am a member of the Prairie Island Indian community. Shout out to my current president, Grant Johnson's here. I was on tribal council for 12 years, 6 as president, and then I decided my time was done, adios, and turned it over to Grant to take over. So now it's his problem. His monkey, his circus. I have new monkeys in circus now.
Maybe we could just go down the line on this one. In 100 years.
Okay. Hi, everybody, and thanks for having me. This is a fun question to think about. I think I took a while to think about it because over the past 100 years, obviously we have made significant advancements with wastewater, stormwater treatment, and others throughout our industry in protecting water quality and improving it. And I just like to think that we have made a lot of progress, but we also have a lot of work to do now and moving forward. And the challenges and the pollutants that we are working with now are very complex and difficult. And there's not really easy solutions, and maybe even at this time, not affordable technologies to meet the demands of the future. And we're also dealing with extreme weather and climate impacts that are challenging our stormwater and wastewater systems too. And so how I operate and what I like to say is, our challenges right now are complex and the solutions are not easy. And it's really important for us to continue to work together across the wastewater sector, across the industry, in all of our roles to identify what those solutions are, because the solutions of the past might have to push the envelope and really think beyond that to figure out what are the solutions for the future for the complex and challenging pollutants that we have, like PFAS and sulfate and chloride, just those really challenging, difficult to treat pollutants, and the extreme weather weather that we're faced with. And so knowing that, the cost of all of this is something that I'm sure that we all think about and are concerned about, and it's something that, within the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency and the infrastructure program, we are thinking about all the time and gathering feedback and the needs from our communities to help to inform at a state level what those needs are. And so in 100 years, with all of those thoughts collected, my goal would to have figured out a way to continue to have affordable wastewater and stormwater and utility services to our communities throughout the state, and then with also ensuring protection of water quality and human health within our communities.
Hi, everybody. Super excited that you're talking about water at the State of the Region, so a shout out for that. As a leader of a water nonprofit, that's very exciting to us. This is a really cool question, especially with the 100-year anniversary of the Mississippi being declared dead. If you think about, maybe before it was a place to discharge stuff, for stuff to go away. And I'd really hope in 100 years that we think of the value of the Mississippi, the full value of it. It's part, a healthy Mississippi is part of a healthy ecosystem that supports communities and people, and that supports businesses too, and that's a lot of tension there between people, business, economy, and ecosystems. But we really have to value the river for all that it can provide for us for that. And I think how we can value that is also by, nature-based solutions, investing in innovation, investing in infrastructure funding. Those are ways that we can show support for the river, but I think us really valuing the river for what it is, 100 years ago we thought of it as like maybe the trash can for discharge. If we could only really recognize it for the value it brings to all of us, our ecosystems, our communities, and our businesses, I think that's what I'd love to see more of.
It's a hard question, thinking of 100 years. I think as humans, we have a hard time, going beyond. For me, it's usually 5 years. For some people, it's their lifespan, and it's a hard question, but it's worthwhile exercise to think about what 100 years looks like. It took a lot of political will, I'm sure. I wasn't there in 1926, but I'm guessing it took a lot of political will to come together and spend that kind of money to solve a problem. And I know we have ongoing work here that takes that kind of political will in a political environment that very often rewards the short-term win. What's your advice for folks in the room today of how we might build and maintain political will that is 100 years away in benefit? Something that you might not see today, but has such a long-lasting benefit. And Michelle, I'd love to start with you on this one.
Yeah, sure. I think here's the secret I'll tell you all right now. Water is one of the few things everybody agrees on and loves in this state. It is a very partisan environment. People don't agree on a lot of things nowadays, but water is one of the things that I think we all can agree on. It is the water we drink. It is the water that grows our food. It is the water that we use for recreation. It is the water that powers our businesses. This is stuff that we all agree on. So sometimes I think we have to take a second and remember that and acknowledge that a little bit more and acknowledge the interconnectedness of all of us in our relationship with water. I think that, this is maybe just us a little bit remembering and taking a step back to value water a little bit more. I think that partnering with others to tell water stories is really important for part of this too. Professional communicators. I'm an engineer. I am not a professional communicator. So
You're doing great.
I really value partnering with communicators, filmmakers. Who else can we partner with to build that political will, help people remember, help people get outside? That's the kind of things we're thinking about at Freshwater.
Great. Yeah, let's just go this way, but I'm going to mix you up in a minute.
Okay. So in addition, in my notes too, I said, water is something that is universal, especially in Minnesota. No matter who you are, you value water. That's why a lot of why we live in Minnesota and what we're proud of is the water quality that we have throughout the state. But my advice would be, because everything we do in working in water takes years. Our systems are set up for 20, 30, but they last 40, 50 years because we have good people that oversee our infrastructure and take care of it. And so it takes a long time to make change and to meet those goals that we set for pollutant reductions or whatever it is. And I think it's important in building those plans, those 20, 30 plus year plans, to have stepwise approach. And so you're not trying to go to the end right away and talking about the end right away, but what are the steps that you need to take over a period of 5, 10, 15 years to get there, and then pause at those times and celebrate successes and explain the progress that you're making and still more where you have to go. And I think having those built-in phases or steps, whatever you want to call them, milestones, and then pausing to really celebrate that helps to keep the momentum over the 20, 30 plus years that it takes to implement those long-term plans.
That's great. Shelley?
I think it's important to remember that the river has been here for generations before any of us were here, and she will be here even after we're gone. I think to appease political will, it's important that every single one of us here in this, what is this, room, arena, whatever it's called, we hold each other accountable. I think it's important that when someone harms or does something to harm the river, they're held accountable, truly accountable, not just the slap on the hand that we see. I also think it's important that every single one of us change, I'm probably speaking to the choir here, but we need to change our mindsets and how we view things like the river, the land, the plants, the animals. They're our relatives. Because when we view something as a relative, we treat them better. We need to treat the river and the water and the natural relatives better so they in turn can treat us better and take care of us. It's a reciprocal relationship that we need to understand. It's not just a take. The river isn't there to make us money. It's there to help take care of us, but we have to take care of her too. And I think we need to start thinking that way and helping others to change their mindset in order for that political will to even change, because things take time. I mean, anybody that says that politics and things in politics is fast, it's not. I think y'all here know that. And things like this that matter takes time, and we just have to be willing to do the work. It's hard work. And again, like with our project at Awamni Yomni Okoda Yapi, our organization has been in existence for 10 years. We haven't really picked up a lot of speed until the last 3 years. So it takes time, especially if you want to do things right.
Time. I love that she is our relative, and you will, it's okay if I say that and use that. Great.
We encourage it.
Yes, I love the idea. I struggle sometimes with the words climate resilience. It means a lot of things to a lot of different people, but yet it is something I know we're deeply facing it. And the climate resilience, and I said it in my opening, it will depend on infrastructure that we build today. And some of our infrastructure was built, probably most of our infrastructure was built for the last century, and we're now in this century, and we are facing impacts of climate change, more rain, shorter periods of time, deeper droughts. I know there's more ways we can note the changes that we're seeing, and there's so many ways to define resilience on climate, and in my mind, they are almost all of them, focused on water. in some way. So I would love to hear that in your practice and your priorities, how do you define resilience to these changes that we're seeing in our environment? And I'm going to start in the middle now, so let's go to Nicole.
Okay, sure. Well, climate resiliency is something that is extremely important and something that I've had many conversations with many cities across the state on over time. And as I'm sure you guys are all aware, the state finalized and released a climate action framework many years ago. Goal 3, our Commissioner Kessler, helps to lead that effort for the state. And Goal 3 within that climate action framework is to support resilient communities throughout the state. And I've had conversations with mayors that say, the thing that keeps me up at night is when a big storm is coming, the flood that's going to happen, and the things that I'm going to have to respond to in the community. Or I've had some that say, their water source, they're concerned about their drinking water source within their community during the dry periods. And so every community, I feel, has a different story and different impacts that they have that they need to prepare for because of the extreme droughts and the extreme wet weather that they're experiencing. And we within, the Pollution Control Agency and the state have been aware and have had a lot of conversations, compiled information to help to tell the story across the state that there is this need here, that cities need support to plan and implement changes within their infrastructure to be more resilient to the droughts or the extreme wet weather events and the huge rain events that we're having, year after year, sometimes multiple times in one year, and things that we're just not prepared for because of when the infrastructure, how, the climate was when we built infrastructure way back many years ago. And so, we have helped to prepare by having over $100 million invested at the state level into grants to pass through to communities to help in planning, identifying risks, and developing plans for projects that need to be completed within your community because of the impacts that you're experiencing, and then implementation dollars. And I believe within the near future, we're actually going to be starting and breaking ground on some of the projects that we've helped to fund through the grants that we have passed through to communities to build those projects that they identified and planned in the last few years. And then also just, community projects to help to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and other things. And so I think climate resiliency might mean something slightly different from community to community because how you guys are set up, the infrastructure you have, and what you're experiencing might be slightly different. But what it is investing, planning, prioritizing, and investing in projects that help to ensure that the impacts are minimized to the extent possible.
Let's go to Shelley. Yeah.
Okay. For me, climate resiliency is simply when you restore the land and the water and the natural inhabitants, the land and the natural relatives, they have an amazing ability to adapt to the climate that they're around, and they heal themselves. I said that earlier. They heal themselves. If we just get out of their way, they heal themselves. And I think living in harmony with the natural world, that's when you get the climate resiliency, and to truly see and view those outside worlds as relatives and things that have have a life force. Sorry, I'm dealing with a migraine, so my brain's not functioning right. But when you view them in that way, with that life force and that spirit that they have, they can take care of themselves while also take care of us. So I think it's just that reciprocal relationship that you have, and helping them by stopping the destruction that we're doing now to everywhere. Like, I have moments where I just get hopeless, where there's just destruction everywhere I turn, and now it's coming from all levels. And so I have to try to get myself out and remember how truly amazing our natural relatives are, and we just need to help give them that push. And by working together and having that reciprocal relationship, that to me is climate resiliency.
Michelle.
Yeah, I mean, I really agree. I think this is where traditional ecological knowledge and nature-based solutions and science and engineering can kind of come together to build in more of that flexibility and more of that water circularity. When I think about climate, I think about climate whiplash. It seems like we're in a drought, and then the next second we're in like a massive flood, and those are both very harmful and destructive, and why can't we ever be in the middle? But that's not the world we live in now. So Kramer Quarry, the water reuse from Kramer Quarry is a great example of that. Instead of using more groundwater supply, we can take water from mining operations and treat it for drinking water standards and leave groundwater for other uses. That's a great example of water circularity. So, the more we can keep water on the landscape, slow it down, recharge aquifers, conserve water, do water recycling, I think those are really great tools for circularity that also help us combat climate change.
I'm going to stay on this for a second, and I warned you we would get to a point in the panel where I would get a little to some unexpected things, but you just gave a great example of something, and you all have such deep experience. Maybe Shelley and Nicole, like what's an example of something that you've been a part of or you've led that has really embodied this ability to be resilient?
At Prairie Island, we were trying to get wild rice to grow again in the waters for, 20 years was it? It took forever. Like, we had amazing people working really hard, and it just wasn't sticking. It wasn't holding because of not only the water flow and the difference, the highs and lows, and all the trash and crap that was coming down to it. It wasn't holding. Then finally, I think 2 or 3 years ago, it might have been 3 years ago, we finally got wild rice growing there, and we had our first harvest. So, and I'm going to try not to cry, but to know that my grandmother didn't get to harvest there, my father didn't get to harvest there, I didn't get to harvest there, but my daughters got to harvest there. It's just so great. This last year, the harvest wasn't as good. I don't know if that was some of our members over-harvesting or, not Grant, but members over-harvesting, or if the crop just wasn't as plentiful as it was the year before. But, it takes time. We worked really hard. We didn't stop. We did everything we could. We changed things throughout different years to try to stop that drastic change in the water there, because the plant really needs to have a steady water flow to really grasp on. So that was something that took 20 years to get done.
Wonderful example. Nicole, what's a good example you want to share?
Yeah, well, and I'm trying to think quickly. I'm an introvert that doesn't think on the spot.
Do your best. You're in a safe place.
And I can't think of an exact project that I have been part of, but I think that what I would say is just talking with many communities about the funding that they've received to be able to do and complete plans and identify the projects, and actually then start seeing some of those projects breaking ground this summer is something that is valuable to me, and even just hearing the appreciation from communities that are using funding that they wouldn't have had to be able to do the work of completing some of the plans and identifying risks for their communities that they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. That's
great. So a whole bevy of good outcomes. I'm going to start closing us out with and I can leave these because it's not on here, with a question that really ties to individuals. We are surrounded by water. We know its value. We think we know its value. And maybe I think I'd like for you each to share what you want a person to feel and think about when they are near water. Most of our regional parks are surrounding water. When we are on our bikes, we see water. When we're coming to Burnsville, we're crossing the Minnesota River. We are near it, around it, seeing it, smelling it. What do you want people to feel and to think about when they are having their experience near water? Make it hopeful. Okay.
I can maybe start. You know, we are really lucky as the headwaters of the Mississippi, the land of 10,000 lakes. Like, how lucky is that? And sometimes I think we do take it for granted. So I want people to remember the value of water, how important it is to us, and really our responsibility as a headwaters state and to each other of what we can do to value water and protect it. And that's whether you're a person or you enjoy nature or you are a business that uses water. That's where those cross-sector collaborations are really important to help us all value water and work together and find those shared benefits, I think are really, really important. So, you know, I'd hope that we don't think of water as just something you drive by or cross on a bridge, but it's something that we interact with and that we value more.
And how should someone feel?
You know, I always think of water as like my COVID thing is like when I was when it was rough, I would like go for a walk near a body of water.
How do you feel is a better question.
That's,
how do you feel?
That's what like restored me and brought me back into balance of like the bigger picture of things and of healing. And so I hope everybody can kind of feel that value and it's different value to a lot of people, but that's what I hope.
Yeah, it's very individual. Thank you. That was beautiful.
Okay, this is a good question. And I have an answer for this one. So I've grown up in Minnesota my whole life. I grew up very northern Minnesota, lived on the Little Fork River, lived in Duluth for a period of time next to Lake Superior, and now live in the Brainerd area and close to the Mississippi River and a couple different lakes. And I cannot think of a period of time where I haven't been by water or connected to water in some way. And I think part of it is being a Minnesotan too, but it is something that we're proud of as living in Minnesota and something that we're a headwaters state. We have tons of water resources throughout the state, and we have a charge to protect that as a citizen of the state. And what I would like everybody to feel when they're close to water is home. That's the first word that came to me. So calm, but also just to feel like you're home. Because as soon as I leave Minnesota and come back and I see the waters and the trees and the woods and everything, of course, I feel like I'm at home.
Great.
For me, first I want everyone to remember that she is a relative. She is to be treated with grace and dignity, and she is powerful. She's way more powerful than any of us are. And I think we need to respect that. She's very healing. I think anytime people touch water, regardless of where that water's at, whether it's here in Minnesota, on the ocean, wherever, you feel a healing. She lifts you up. She makes you hopeful. And I think we need to respect that. I know with our project at Awamini Yomini, I go to the site and it just looks ugly. It's horrible. It's just miserable. It makes me sad and angry. But then I stop and I close my eyes and I listen and I hear her power. I hear the power of the falls. And it's so healing and inspirational. And that's why I do the work that I do. And I'm killing myself on 2 jobs to make sure that we take care of her and restore her, especially right there at Awamini Yomini, because it is a sacred site of my people, and she has been devastated by the destruction from the federal government. One of our sacred islands was destroyed by the building of the city around her and the dredging of the river so commercial navigation could go through. So to be able to restore that land and that natural habitat while also with our phase 2 part of the project being able to bring water back and bringing people and connecting people to water again. There'll be a place where you can actually physically touch the water there. It's going to be so healing, which I think is something that not only the city of Minneapolis needs right now, it's something our entire state needs right now is healing. And she has the power to do that.
I heard healing really from all of you, and water, she has the power to heal, and she needs our protection, and we are dedicated to that. please join me in thanking our panelists for their incredible insight today. I really enjoyed hearing from you. I feel inspired, and I hope you all feel inspired too. Thanks so much. And we will now transition to our next panel, and I'll allow you guys just a moment to carefully exit. Please take care of your migraine. Thank you again. It is with a lot of enthusiasm I get to introduce the moderator of our next panel. He's been a great partner to me. He is so loyal to the work. He is well known to you because he works with you nonstop. I am having like the best experience getting to know Ryan and working with him for the last 6 months. We really do this work in partnership, and so I'm so glad to introduce to you, he probably doesn't need introduction, and welcome Ryan O'Connor, Regional Administrator for the Metropolitan Council, to, give him a round of applause, everyone, and Ryan will take it from here.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thanks for the warm welcome. It's always great to do an event like this. This is my third one I've gotten to do. We were in Hopkins a few years ago, thinking ahead to a future and some investments that begin to be real next year. Then last year, getting to spend time in St. Paul, talking at Allianz Field about visions for things we wanted to see. And if you were to go by that area right now, you can see some of those visions rising up out of the ground. And then to be here today and talk about partnership and opportunities here in the South Metro. These are also fun for me as I'm a kid of this region. Like many of you would have similar stories to tell. I grew up, born and raised in Bloomington, went to Kennedy High School. My dad worked for the Minneapolis Park Board as a public servant. He was a tree trimmer. Moved away for a while, but like so many, came back. Married a woman from Richfield, because we all meet people 5 miles from where we grew up, whether we choose to or not. First place we lived was in Woodbury, moved into St. Paul, bought a house there, now have kids in the St. Paul school system. My parents moved down to Apple Valley, spent a lot of our life down there. Like all the Minnesota sports teams, and commiserate many times with all of you at the right moments. But it's always fun to come together as a region, to think about the idea that you grow up and you read about a place and all the people trying to do great work, and then one day you have the opportunity to spend time with those people getting to do that great work. And so my thank you and gratitude, 2 things I want to say at the outset, extends here to all of you for your commitment to our communities in whatever roles you play in. I know how hard you work. I know how hard your jobs are. I know how much you care. You don't do this work for any reason other than that. I thank you for being a part of my journey. It's so fun at the beginning of these meetings to spend time outside and be reminded of how many people and how many places you have an opportunity to work with, who teach you, who help make you better, and who help you understand how we work together to build a stronger region. For those I haven't met, I hope I get the opportunity to do that as we move forward, but I wanted to say thank you. I also want to say one last thank you, both to the live stream, which if you didn't know, we're live streaming this event today back across the Metropolitan Council because we have a lot of staff in a lot of places that also doing work today wanted to be able to tune in. It's always this challenge for us if we have so many people who want to be here who can't. I want to say thank you intentionally to them on the screen. I also want to thank our staff who are here today, and particularly the people who put on this event. These things don't just happen. This is like throwing a small wedding without the vows. There will be no vows. If you could give a round of applause to the people who put today's event on. And to both our current chair and the former chair, who I started working with here, I just want to appreciate their leadership and commitment to this work as well. Signing up to be the Met Council chair brings with it lots of fun opportunities to move around the region, work on big issues, talk about these important topics. It also means you get some headlines that can probably cause you consternation. You get challenging questions from the legislature. And like a lot of jobs in public service, people rightfully want to say, what are we doing? Are we doing our best? I have a right to challenge that. And that takes a level of commitment every single day. And they've worked very hard with me to be able to try to figure out our best way to chart this forward with all of the council members who have been mentioned here today. Thank you for giving me a moment to do a little bit of a welcome and appreciate all of you and this opportunity to be together. At this time, I'd like to invite up a couple of panelists. We have 3 panelists. Please come on up here for our second panel today. We're going to sit over here. And as they come up, I'm going to briefly introduce this panel. You know, it says in the topic, we're going to do technical assistance. And I kind of go, okay. Less technical and more about some of our important work. And alongside being technical, can I take that seat actually? I'm pre-reserving the seat. Thank you. I didn't do anything to help any of you with that, so that's my fault. We're less technical and actually going to be a little more relational in some of our questions today. It's an honor for me to get to introduce a group of our leaders who represent the operating divisions across the Metropolitan Council. These are folks I work with every day. These are folks who I see and spend my time with, thinking through big questions, sometimes asked by all of you. I see the commitment they bring to this work. I see the way they want to move this region forward. I know they deeply care and have stories not all that dissimilar from mine or the chairs or any of yours about what brings them here and into this space. And I also think you don't always get to see them, and I think that the humanizing of our work together is important. In the same way that I know all of you working in other organizations have staff who you could put on this stage and have the same types of conversations. It's important to do that at any time, particularly at the time of Imagine 2050 as we launch a new comprehensive plan. So, to introduce my panelists today, we have Sarah Berkey. Sarah serves as the Senior Manager of our Livable Communities program within community development. Her work is at the heart of building equitable, thriving communities across our region. She's representing community development today. Our Executive Director, Lisa Barajas, is at an event for her high school senior receiving an award that they haven't gotten to tell her ahead of time what award said senior is receiving, but she looked at me and said, I really want to be here, but I can't redo this other thing I get to go to. And it was like, yeah, you need to go to that, and Sarah would be a great person to represent this work here today. Charles Carlson is the Executive Director of Metropolitan Transportation Services. He leads the planning and coordination of our transportation system work that connects communities and moves this region forward. On the far end, Lisa Thompson is the General Manager of Environmental Services. We've talked a lot about water today. I can tell you that Lisa probably is the biggest fan of every conversation we've had so far today. Lisa's team oversees the critical work of protecting natural resources and ensuring a sustainable future for generations to come. And finally, Leslie Kinderis, sitting next to me, General Manager of Metropolitan Transit. I don't know why I did that. Of Metro Transit, which is the actual name of our system. She's responsible for delivering safe, reliable, and accessible transit service to hundreds of thousands of riders across the region every day. We move about 150,000 individuals on a ride every single day in this region. That would be the region's 3rd largest city by size. It's always an important part of thinking about how we are here with all of you across all of your communities every day. So I'm going to ask a few questions that relate to Imagine 2050. If you don't know what Imagine 2050 is, please see me in the hallway afterwards. We should all know what that is by now and the continued process that's underway. But I also challenged each of these leaders to think about not answering the question within the confines of the document, but to the broader work that it represents with all of you this year and over a 10-year period here together. And so I'm going to start with a question for everyone, and maybe we can just go right in order because we're a linear group usually. As you look to the future with Imagine 2050 as a guide, and you think about moving from the creation of this plan to the implementation, what are you excited to work about? What are you excited to work on with our local partners in the years ahead?
Yeah, thanks. Great question. And I would say I really want to build on the theme of collaboration that I think was really clear in the fireside chat with the mayor and throughout today. As Metro Transit, we are the largest provider of transit service in the Twin Cities region. And as Imagine 2050 continues to advance, we want to be a key partner in achieving the goals laid out in that plan.
Thank you. Charles.
I'm excited to work on transportation safety. We have an outcome in Imagine 2050 that people do not die or face life-changing injuries using any form of transportation. Thank you. So the Met Council serves as the Metropolitan Planning Organization for the region. As part of that, we have a federal requirement that we bring forward what is my least favorite business item every single year, which is to set road safety performance targets. In that, we bring forward a goal this year. We passed an item that we would have not more than 71 fatalities on the region's road system. I mean, that's unacceptable. Our outcome in Imagine 2050 is 0. Actually, in 2025, we were double 71. We were around 140. And so what I'm excited for is the work we all do together. The council doesn't operate the region's road system, but we do guide how we invest in the system. And one of the ways that we will be investing in the system is through a new safety category in our regional solicitation. We all have to move the needle. We have to move the needle quickly. And I think by 2050, through a safe systems approach, we can really get there in the next 25 years.
Thank you. Sarah.
Sure. Co-creating Imagine 2050 with all of you in this room, with cities, lots of partners, directly with residents, co-creating those statements of what our plan would be was really fun, but implementation is actually our favorite part. And in the Community Development Division, we have been building and building out so many resources to really help each local community in our region do their own plans and in ways that coordinate and that help us learn from each other throughout the process as well. So please check out all of the resources that are already available, with the local planning handbook website being a really key one-stop shop. There you'll find extremely detailed descriptions for every community in the region of what is the minimum requirement for planning and what you can do to go further. And we have a lot of new tools we are rolling out now and will continue to launch. Local housing data tool, really dig into not just the basics, but also what are the trends? And you can use those data tools to download images and documents, that you can directly put into your own plan. We're trying to make it really easy to do good planning and to provide all the resources needed. We have a greenhouse gas reduction tool, climate action toolkit, natural systems planning. A new resource that we just highlighted is the American Indian Regional Parks and Trail name series and toolkit it's really been developed in relationship with tribes, with Native leaders, and with our parks implementing agencies in our region to provide a regional resource and to just, again, embody that doing things better in collaboration together and connecting those local planning issues to regional collaboration. And beyond that, we have funding too. So funding for local planning assistance grants, direct technical support for the smallest communities in our region, and a new pool of $9 million for housing implementation and innovation.
I'm going to come back on that housing piece in a second. I want to underscore with Sarah's comments about the tools, in particular the funding secondarily, from council members and from all of you. We receive a lot of feedback over the last 10 years about where communities are looking for more support and more information as it relates to the 10-year comprehensive plan cycles. And this has been a big effort this time. We look forward to seeing how it's received. And we are always here to take feedback. This is an iterative growth process that we are in every decade. And so please make a point of continuing that dialogue with us. It has led to changes in the way we approached this particular cycle. Lisa. We're going to make you not use a mic.
There, I see a light now, so that must mean it's working. Top of my mind, water sustainability. So my excitement comes from you all who've said water sustainability is on your mind too. And in the Thrive 2050, or Imagine 2050, sorry, I've been around for a few of these. Water sustainability is a goal there too. So as we think about the first 100 years of our legacy was coming together by partners like you folks in this room to solve a problem. Our rivers needed help. it has us thinking, well, water sustainability, what aren't we doing now that maybe we need to do in the next 100 years to serve the needs of this region and partner with our local communities? So that means for us, as we look at new facilities, we want to have more collaboration and greater transparency in our capital planning. We want to make sure that all people have a voice that can really be heard. And so we're thinking about ways that we're going to do that so that we can have more holistic thinking about water sustainability that we can do together and apply that to our future wastewater treatment. We think there's lots of good opportunities to work with local partners on those solutions. But first, we have to understand what are the concerns and the problems that could be addressed together. So we're excited to start working on water sustainability with all of you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask some individual questions now to various panelists. Sarah, I'm going to start with you. We're going to go back to housing. The council allocates to cities their share of the region's need for affordable housing in the comprehensive plan. What is the council doing to support communities planning for and supporting the development of affordable housing within communities across the region?
Yeah, well, I was not entirely surprised, but really impressed to see how much affordable housing is on the top of the minds of this audience when we did that exercise earlier. So I'm glad to hear that, and we're eager to work with all of you on doing as much as we can in what really is a challenging environment for building the affordable housing we need. The council starts really seeing housing as a right and as a foundation for health, social, and economic well-being in our region. It's really essential. And housing policy planning, we start with understanding the need, not necessarily what's possible to do, but literally what do we need? We look at, where will there be growth in our region? Where do we have affordable homes now? Where do we have low-wage jobs? And how many homes then each individual community in our region will need for households at different income levels as part of their future growth that we anticipate. So again, we really convene everyone. We look at this data together as a region with our team helping to facilitate that, and then we try to understand how we can best respond. So with our housing policy plan, the policies are really about creating enough space for those homes and creating conditions for communities to help meet the need, because we know our region is so much stronger when there's enough safe, dignified, and affordable homes for everyone to have a choice of where to live. And so supporting cities in the region, we have really heard from you a lot, and we look forward to hearing more about what you need to do this work well. We know we have a strong foundation of experience after the 2040 housing policy plan, which was the first plan like that our region had done in decades. And so we know what has worked through a lot of extensive engagement. We also know what could be stronger. We've heard that we need more focus on kind of how to connect policies to actual priorities at the local level and to implementation strategies. And we heard that we need to provide a lot more clarity about our role as the council and each role in the system, including roles for cities. We have a lot of data that's really unique, a wonderful resource that our region has that other regions typically don't have at this scale. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of effort that's been put into making that data accessible. You can find it on our website, you can interact with it, you can download it, and you can use it. We hope that will be a wonderful resource, not just for planners, but really for anyone in our region to understand how we're doing on housing and where the opportunities are. And that'll help tell your story about where housing is needed and what we know about housing in our region. And again, I really want to underscore, we have unprecedented levels of funding to support communities in meeting their affordable housing needs. We have a new $9 million pool of funding. We're already starting to put that out through local planning and policy development and program development grants. You can apply for the next round of those grants as well as our Livable Communities grants to support actual development throughout the region. The next deadline is October 15th, so don't forget. And we'll also look forward to investing in really bringing communities together to share what we know they're doing well. We have a lot of wonderful best practices at the local level to draw on in our region, but we have an opportunity to make sure that those best practices are really everywhere and that we're learning from each other and building on that knowledge to make a more a regional approach to solving this challenge.
Thank you. And we know this issue is going to continue to come up at the legislature. It'll likely be a large campaign issue this fall, would be my guess. It's an important issue for so many in our region to ensure that everyone who can find a place to live so that they can thrive. And we pledge to continue working with all of you. It's going to take everyone in this region to think about the way we apply the thinking we've heard about today around other regional systems to this important topic as we move forward. Charles, Imagine 2050 also places a high value on walking and biking. How are you working with communities to add new infrastructure for these modes into their existing mix? As I know there's a lot of demand within their communities for it.
There is, and like affordable housing is a big topic of interest. I will say that transit, biking, and walking is a housing affordability strategy because there's nothing more expensive than owning a vehicle as your main way of getting around, and replacing one of your vehicles with these other modes is not only safer, but it's also a way to afford opportunities to live, to work, to play, to go to school, and more. The way that we're doing this primarily is through investment. I mentioned earlier transportation safety. Biking and walking is a safe way to get around, but it needs to be safer. Minnesota had about 40 pedestrian fatalities last year. About 30 of those were in the Twin Cities region. So we are a small share of the overall traffic deaths, but almost 70% of the pedestrian fatalities. So we need a safer way to bike and to walk, including that's how you get to transit. We're investing significantly in our transportation system right now. So right now through June 25th at 4 p.m., we are accepting applications for almost $250 million of projects, including $84 million for projects related to biking and walking. We also have a new safety category in our regional solicitation for federal funds for $28 million. All $250 million go towards safety. It's criteria in every single category, but for the first time we have a safety-focused category. But within Bike and Ped, federal funding is available for regional bike facilities. We're targeting $34 million through our Transportation Advisory Board that manages this process, advising the council. That has a 20% local match requirement, so 80% federal. There's a $1 million minimum award or a $5.5 million maximum award for regional bike infrastructure projects. Federal funds can be tough to manage, and we hear that, and we've come up with a solution, thanks to the support of the state legislature. A portion of a transportation sales tax passed in 2023 goes toward pedestrian and bicycle projects. That collects more than $20 million a year, and this year we'll look to award more than $50 million of projects. There is no local match requirement associated with this funding. This funding would be available at project selection in 2027. And there are 3 areas of investment for biking and walking infrastructure. Local bike facilities, a minimum of $150,000 grant up to $3.5 million. Local pedestrian, $150,000 to $2.5 million maximum award. And active transportation planning grants. So not every community has a project that's ready to go, ready to compete for funds, but active transportation planning grants are available up to $200,000 to position projects to compete well and secure funds in years ahead. So $84 million can make a big contribution to our system. We know that we will have demand well in excess of that, but we're excited to make these investments in the years ahead.
Let's go. Lisa, many local governments are facing underground infrastructure that's aging, needs to be replaced. How do you communicate the urgency of these invisible repairs to a public, particularly as they're concerned about being able to afford all sorts of things right now and the cost of life?
That's a challenge that we share with you, and we want to be helpful in making that awareness of the urgency real for the folks that out of sight, out of mind. Those pipes don't show up like a road that's getting potholes and citizens are saying, we need to invest. So we know that invisibility makes it hard to get visible investment. And working together and collaborating, in the past we've been able to keep more pocket money in the pockets of those we serve, and we think there might be ways in which we could partner with you to help in that challenge of raising the urgency for investments. One example that we have, that we can point to that we've done together is our inflow and infiltration program. As you recall, we worked together with our communities when the data showed that those deteriorating pipes that were invisible were letting a lot of storm flow in, and it was causing a lot of capacity demand on the pipes and raising risks for backups into homes. And the alternative would be to upsize our infrastructure, which isn't a cheaper way to go. So we had to figure out how can we get the pipes that are deteriorating taken care of and preserved. And that program came together and it brought visibility to the problem and helped legislators understand what we were doing as a program and gain support for investment. So we've had many years of legislative support with a grant program to communities to help repair their interceptors. And this year alone, there's $15 million that's going to be distributed to over dozens of our local interceptor repairs in the community. So that is a much cheaper alternative, of course, than enlarging all of our pipes in our facilities. The public deserves to know what that investment is going to and what they're going to get for it. And for years, we've not talked much about wastewater. We can point to the river and say, you know, our good work is making a cleaner river. But as facilities have aged, the deterioration is at a point where something needs to be preserved or it will cost us more because failures are always more expensive than preventing them. We took that to heart and we started to undertake how can we make what we do and what you all do more visible to the public. So this will be our third year being at the State Fair and the Eco Exhibit experience. It's been a lot of fun for staff to do, but it's also been very successful in seeing how the public is really interested in wastewater work and what we're doing and having great questions and kids dragging their parents back for repeat visits at one visit at the fair because they were so interested in it. And, you know, it's got us thinking that's a fun way to help the public have more awareness of what we do. And perhaps there's opportunity here to create a roadshow, a smaller, more portable version of something like that, that we could loan out to communities. We'd be happy to do that, maybe show up at events and help with the communication, but that would be a way in which you could help people understand what they don't see when you're asking for money to make visible investments.
Great idea.
So if you're interested, grab me today, reach out to any of our staff, let us know, and perhaps you have some ideas about how to do that. Thanks.
Thank you. Leslie, last question goes to you. Metro Transit System has seen some big changes under your leadership. Construction of BRT lines like the Gold Line, arterial BRT lines, B Line, E Line. We're opening the Green Line extension next year, Gold Line extension. What are you seeing as benefits of this expanding network?
Well, I really appreciate the question because it recognizes the tremendous investment our region is making in our transit system, thanks to the partnership with local, state, and federal governments. We've really been able to expand our network in recent years. As you mentioned, last year alone, we opened 3 new bus rapid transit lines, Gold Line in March, B Line in June, and then E Line in December. Next year also will be a huge year with opening the Green Line extension as well as Gold Line extension, first part of G Line. So it is a really exciting time as we not only bring that improved mobility to those corridors, but that's strengthening our entire network. And that really gets to the heart of what Metro Transit's mission is. Our mission can be summarized in 6 words: connecting people, strengthening communities, and improving lives. And fundamentally, our transit investment is one key way we do that. Just to put this in some perspective, stepping back, if you look at where we were in 2015, 4% of our region's population lived within a half-mile of a metro station back in 2015. And by metro station, we mean a bus rapid transit station or light rail station. Today, 16% of our region's population are within a half-mile of a metro station. 20% of our region's jobs, 30% of our region's renter households, and 38% of our region's car-free households are now within a half-mile of a metro station. And so that's just one indicator of how we're increasing mobility, increasing connectivity, and ultimately improving people's lives in our community.
Thank you. We're going to wrap. You get five words. We're going to play popcorn here real quick. Pick your favorite five, starting with Lisa on the end. If you could tell partners in this room one thing about how you or your division can help these individuals the most, what would it be?
Collaboration. I've always believed that we're better together when we have a long journey to go. The more of us go, the better we'll go. So water sustainability, one organization, one solution isn't going to save the region or help achieve that goal. So what can we do? We can create spaces and convene the partners that work in land, climate, water, so that we can share and learn from each other, align our plans, and solve problems together. And if we can do that, we'll go far on our vision.
Thank you. Sarah?
Okay, 5 words. We're a resource. Reach out.
Yeah, I like that.
Someone got that, right?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, look at that. Charles?
250 million, open now through June 25th, 4 p.m. I should also say the regional experts on this process are waiting to talk to you in the lobby.
And we'll throw in a pair of knives with them. Leslie?
Very similar to Sarah's. We want to work with you. Please reach out. Please let us know how we can be partners.
We are here to be a partner along with you in moving your communities forward. Thank you so much for giving us some time today. Please give the panel a round of applause. Let's just stay here. We'll have the chair come out and she'll take us home.
That's what I was going to propose, is just have everyone stay here. Thank you guys. That was amazing and witty, especially the 5-word thing, and really speaks to why we have these events, is for connection. I would like to see how we're doing one last time. There, it's still there, right in the middle: affordable housing, climate resilience, water sustainability, water quality, climate change, and then everything else. So a couple really big issues on your mind. Thank you so much for playing along. I'm going to close this out by giving thanks to everyone who showed up today to do this work together. And I'd like to have council members please stand. Former council members too, former and current council chair, please stand. Everyone should know their representatives. You truly do a service to your communities, and you should be knowable to our region. Thank you so much for your work as council members. I also would like to ask those who worked so hard on this event to stand. Ryan gave you a really good thank you. It was in my notes as well, because we really want to thank you. For everyone who worked so hard to make this event happen, it is an event. Just stand up for a sec. We want to recognize you. Me, Terry, Sam, like, come on. Emma, my new best friend Kyle in the back, who ran the prompter for me and did an amazing job. Thank you guys so much. And to everyone who will continue to be in a trusted partner relationship with us, we have so much productive work to do. It starts with showing up here and staying in touch and knowing where your resources are for help. Thank you guys so much. So on behalf of the regional administrator and I and everyone in this room from the Metropolitan Council, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you at the next event, hopefully soon. And it'll be around this van that we're going to do on the road show, which is a great idea. I'm going to do it. Thank you, everyone. Please stay and mingle.